Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle.
Mr. Rob O'Hara.
Sprite Castle.
Okie dokie, let's see what we've got going on here tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this amazing stream that we've got set up tonight. So I have to tell you that all hail to Pinback. I've been working on a little secret. It's not really a secret as I adjust this. I started getting these announcements from Twitch saying you got to get 50 followers. You got to get, 50 is where the magic happens. And so the whole point of tonight's show was to drum up enough business, so to speak, to get 50 followers. I have no idea what's going on. I don't understand anything about Twitch. But apparently Magic thinks, oh my gosh, look at that. It's working. It's working. Everything is working. I'm so happy. That is gigantic, by the way. I'm going to make that smaller. And so the whole thing was to make this. That's better. I like that. And that guy is funny. Thank you for following, good sir, Mr. Beef-Hearted. It almost sounds like I don't want to start making fun of people's names right off the bat, but Beef-Hearted I like, but it sounds like me farted, which is possible on tonight's stream. So the whole idea of tonight's stream was we were going to drum up enough amazing business that we were going to get up to 50 followers. And so about half an hour before we started, I got notified that I hit 50 followers. And so I got all these things that said, hey, congratulations, you're going to be a Twitch affiliate and all this, which is very exciting, except for I don't know what it means. It would be like if, obviously I understand how Christmas works, but what if there was a different holiday and someone's like, hey, don't forget on on this holiday, and I'd be like, sounds very exciting, but I don't know what's going on, so I'm very confused, but I'm very happy about being confused. And I was going to, the minute that it hit 50 followers, I was going to crack open this. This is the last one I have of this. This is from the Left Hand Brewing Company. I heard about this from another podcast, Pixel Guide In. Was a peanut butter milk stout. I want you to take a look at that right there. So it's a dark stout, but also peanut butter flavor. And so, you know what? Let's see if this $150 microphone is everything they said it would be. Although I also cut my fingernails all the way off today down to the quick, and I can't open anything. Oh, here we go. Whoa, celebration is in the house. Here is to you, my 50 followers. I feel like I've won a major award that could be Fred Gile, and that I should have had an acceptance speech ready, but I don't have crap ready. You know what I should do? This mug, I should pour the stout into this mug. I just had this mug out. But this mug has been sitting on a shelf for over 10 years and has never been washed, probably since I bought it from a thrift store. So it's thrift store grossness. But I'm telling you what, now I know this is how the Twitch works. If we get up to 60 followers, I will pour what's left of the beer in this mug and drink it, even though this mug is super gross. Boy, I really don't want to do that. Please tell everybody not to follow. So let's try the Left Hand. It is a peanut butter stout, and then it says peanut butter milk stout. No, it's just it's not bad. It's a little I think it would be good with peanuts. If you're sitting at the bar and tossing in a few peanuts. Let's see. Is that the percentage, the alcohol percentage? Is that what you want to know? Well, I just turned it to read the thing and I just poured it out over my hand. Was that your plan, sir? Was that your plan? Because if so, it worked. You would think I'd have more than one of these already, but I have not. Well, the show's ruined, thanks to Pinback for making me pour out this beer right here on my desk. You know, I just don't see. It looks like 6. It looks like 6%. So not bad. The peanuts would really top it off. So hey, tonight we have 2 different games that we're going to be playing, and I advertised online. Hey, what do we think about this fine beer that I just speared all over? I mean, is it good? Is it bad? Well, Mario seems to give it. He approves. Mario approves. So we have 2 different games in the hopper tonight, and I advertised one, but there's going to be a secret. I advertised that we're going to be playing Super Mario Brothers for the Commodore 64. Now I can hear you saying, that's crazy. Super Mario Brothers is for the Nintendo, the NES, but there was a release of Super Mario Brothers earlier. I believe it's earlier this year, 2020, I believe. But for many people who were in the know, who were back in the day that were Commodore users, there was a game called the Great Giana Sisters. So it's a little bit of a play on, hey, Tintin, what's going on, my friend? We were just talking about Super Mario Brothers and the history of Super Mario Brothers on the Commodore 64. So back in the 80s, there was a game released for the Commodore 64 called the Great Giana Sisters. So if that sounds suspiciously like Super Mario Brothers, Great Giana Sisters, you would be right. It's very similar to Super Mario Brothers, and it's so similar to Super Mario Brothers that the company got sued and the game got pulled off the market. But some enterprising game hackers, coders, whatever you want to say, took Great Giana Sisters, which in its own right is a good game, and they modified the graphics. They went in and they modified the sprites and changed the graphics and turned Great Giana Sisters into Super Mario Brothers. So we are going to play the 2020 release of Super Mario Brothers, but first we're going to play this version of Super Mario Brothers that happened all the way. And now there is a new Giana Sisters game. Great Giana Sisters is really good on the Amiga. And the Commodore 64 version is not bad either. But yeah, there was, I think, I don't remember if it was a Kickstarter, but there was a whole thing and there's a new version. We're not going to do unlimited time. Now, this is the same version that I had when I was a kid. I remember when I got this, I was very confused because I had not seen Great Giana Sisters, so I had no idea what the source was. And you could set unlimited lives if you wanted. You could start ahead, but we're not going to do those things because we are Super Mario players. And so then you get this cool scroll that came up from Abyss. Abyss was, of course, a huge cracking group in the 1980s and beyond. So let's go ahead and skip that. And boy, it just goes right into the game. Hachi machi. We are jumping in tonight. So there we can see that we have Mario. Now, as you know, we've talked a lot about on the Commodore 64. I've mentioned many times that the Commodore 64, of course, this is the best joystick of all time, the Epix 500 joystick. But as we all know, Commodore only has one button. And so let's see. Are we getting audio? There we go. Let's get some audio in there. And so we've got kind of this laid-back jam going on. Now, because there's only one button, and Mario is going to have to do two things. The way they get around that in a lot of these games is that we're going to press up, and that is our jump feature on the this old version. Boy, my time is almost run out. So we're going to go over there. If you're familiar with the original Super Mario Brothers, then this level is going to look not identical, but it's going to look pretty familiar. Now, this in the original game was not a mushroom, but they changed that. Now, you notice that when you get the mushroom in Great Giana Sisters, that you don't get any bigger. As a kid, now here's these little bridge things go away as you. Oh, see, I ran out of time because I was yapping my trap too much. So let's try to actually get through this level here. So the enemies that you'll face are not the same. You will see in the first level, instead of Goombas, there are owls. And instead of regular coins, you can see we have these little blue quad-colored discs. Now, this little bridge thing, when you go across that, that will disappear. We want to get that. And the lightning bolt will now let us shoot. So we are on our way to wreaking havoc here. And there are 4 power-ups in all that you can get in this version. I'm just going to leave that and go over here. Yep, so we've got owls instead of those now, but on this level we will see, let's see, let's blow this dude out of the water. Don't remember. They kind of have these little eyeball guys here. Now, actually, just like in regular Super Mario Brothers, so you will see that, again, it's not the identical. Now we have turtles showing up. The layouts are not the same, but it's similar. You know what I mean? It's the now we get these, the double. Now what these are going to do? Let's wait for that guy to go back. Is these bounce off of things, and that's going to become pretty useful here in a minute. Oh, I should have got that. I think there's actually a coin box just like that in the original, like right there too. So they really borrowed a lot of the level ideas and inspiration. So now that we have these shots that bounce, oops, this joystick is not the easiest to go diagonal, which is pretty important in this game. Now that we can bounce these shots. And then right up here, I believe, is the 4th power-up. Now this is... ran out of time again. You know what? I should have done the cheat where I got unlimited time. Really, I should just stop talking and run faster. Let's get out of here. Now that is one difference in this game, is that you can't hit coins from below if you haven't got the first power-up. I mean, you have to destroy the bricks. So we've seen the first power-up, which is the mushroom, right? Which allows us to break bricks. And we've seen the second one, which give us the power to shoot. That's the lightning bolt, which we'll get now. Oh. The third one, the double lightning bolt, is the one that allowed us to... That's just like the cloud that flies around in Super Mario Brothers. The third power-up is the double lightning bolts, which allowed us to bounce shots off of things. Now you have to look down sometimes. Though, see those, you know, the pit that's down there? Sometimes you'll see a very faint, it's kind of hard to see, but a very faint blue line. By the way, this is just like Super Mario Brothers, that if we get 100 coins, we will get an extra man. So that's always an incentive to be doing that. There's our double lightning. It's a little squirrely to control, not too bad. But the 4th power-up, which is that pineapple that we saw. Come on, Mario. is allows you to kind of, basically the bullets just become like homing missiles. Golly, I just can't see the... There we go. I always thought when I was a kid that the those little brown blocks, there's the pineapple. So now watch this. As we just shoot, it's just like... Oh, this is not the best spot to do this. Oh, you can't kill that guy. I forgot. It's been a while. It's been a while since I played this. It's been a while since I didn't fall down there. I guess if you have a keyboard, you would just type. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing here? Doesn't seem to be allowing me to do much here. There we go. Alright, we're going to try that again. You know what I may do is, I may reboot this and put some different cheats on so that we can jump ahead maybe in the levels and see a little bit more of the game. Let's get the mushy roomy room. It's funny that I just said that. My dad, my whole life, my dad, and to this day, anytime he says the word mushroom, he says mushy roomy room, which... I never knew where that came from. And then one day, I was at work, and I was talking to a custodian at work. I mean, this guy's old. He was like in his late 60s, maybe early 70s. And we were ordering pizza, and he said, "Are you going to get the mushy roomy rooms?" And I literally did, I was like, woo! Like, did one of those dumb double takes, and I was like, where did you hear that? Because I've never heard anybody else in my life say that. And he said that was an old advertisement that they used to do at the drive-in. They would say, "Hey, come get the pizza with the mushy roomy rooms," or something like that. And then I asked my dad, and he said, "Yeah, I thought you knew that. I thought you knew where that came from." But I did not know where it came from. All right. Just like Super Mario Brothers, you can knock out those bricks at the top and get up there on the top layer. And I don't really remember if there's a warp or not. I don't feel... Okay, now look, we got the pineapple. Right now, look at this. We just start shooting through bricks at people. Like, now we're like... There's that guy, too. Like, bam, bam, bam. They're just like homing beacons. Like missiles. I guess you can't shoot that guy. There you go. Hey, Ice Cream Jonesy, thank you for stopping by. And you are one of my bestest buds, and I'm glad that you came here to support this goofiness that I'm doing. Ice Cream Jonesy is... for those of you that don't know, is also known as Rob Sherwin. Oh, now this is Stops the Clock. And Rob Sherwin is one of the premier authors of interactive fiction alive today. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to get him to give me the free bits or whatever I'm supposed to be. Yeah, I could definitely use some pointers here. Anyway, Mr. Sherwin just entered a game in a text adventure or interactive fiction competition, and I don't know the official place that he placed, but he placed #1 in my heart, I will tell you that. He wrote a game called J. Schelling's Edge of Chaos, which I'm going to be playing either this weekend or sometime next week. I've got a couple of different... Oh, now wait a minute. This is important. I've got to stop plugging my friend's stuff for a second. Now, you know that in the original Super Mario Brothers, once you get to the 4th level, you know, of the world... golly, I'm going to die here. Oh, there we go. Come on, joystick. We've been friends. We've been through so much together. Don't fail me now. I may have to literally change joysticks. Oh, there we go. So just like the original Mario, you know, you had 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Then when you got to 1, 4, you got to the final big battle. And this is the exact same thing now. The levels are named or numbered slightly different. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. But oddly enough, this game has 4 levels. Okay, so here comes the giant bad guy, and it's a giant ant. And all you got to do here is just time that. Get over there, get them bits. All right, and then boom. So Jonesy's game is Jay Schilling's Edge of Chaos, and you can play. Oh, now look! If you look down there, see that very faint blue line? Oh, now this is a completely original design. Just kidding. If you look at it, it looks identical to the original Super Mario Brothers. And you can come here. We got to get this money, get that money, and there we go. Hey, if you're not following the stream, and I'm not a good promoter person, but I don't really want you to follow, but you can follow because then something will pop up on the OBS thing, and then we can see if it works. It's supposed to pop your name up at the top, and it's supposed to be super duper. Pinback, help me set that up. All right, so now we're just like I'm a murder machine at this point. I could shoot everybody. Like I feel like it's like Mario's getting some power. I don't even know what that power up does. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, now they're just like. I mean, my bullets are just like missiles of death. Oh, man, you gotta keep bouncing on this. We gotta get. There we go. So, I can talk a little bit about Rob's latest game. He is in the game, you are a private detective who is hired to solve a missing person case, and the game begins in a odd location. It begins in a petting zoo. Oh, now see, you can't kill that guy, so now my bullet's just stuck on that dude. But so this is again kind of that same idea from Super Mario Brothers that we could just get up here, be a little crazy. Oh, but now we're screwed. Now you can, oh. Hello, Lord Soup. How are you, my friend? We are playing 2 different versions of Super Mario Brothers. The first one that we are playing tonight is this version, which is not really Super Mario. Oh, golly gee, I did it again. It's not really Super Mario Brothers. This is a old hack of the Great Giana Sisters for the Commodore 64. And one that I definitely played a lot of as a kid. I mean, the thing about Commodore 64 versus Nintendo, I guess I'll talk about this, was, as a kid, like I had a neighbor that had a Commodore 64. I mean, Nintendo. I had the Commodore 64. I was my own neighbor. So my neighbor had an NES, and I had the Commodore 64, And I remember, like, I would go over to his house and, walk next door, and he would be like, "Hey, man, you want to play Super Mario Brothers?" And we would definitely play it. I mean, it was an awesome game. There was no question about that. And then he would come over to my house, and I would be like, "Hey, you want to play this? You want to play this?" And I had literally, I mean, even then I had hundreds of games, and later I had, thousands of games. And, I would be like, "Oh, you want to play this? You want to play this?" And he'd be like, yeah. And then he would say, "Hey, you want to play Super Mario Brothers?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't have Super Mario Brothers." And so that was the thing. Like, that was the kind of like the embarrassment, the Achilles, of the Commodore 64. Like, he would be like, "Oh, you want to play a game? Yeah, we have this, we have that. I have sports games, I have action games, I have Atari games that have been ported to the Commodore 64, I mean, we just had so many games." And then he would be like, "Yeah, bro, but do you got, Commodore 64 or Super Mario Brothers, and I didn't. Like, that was the one thing that it just couldn't do. And you know, I've looked over the years now, like if you look at the specs of, you know, colors and resolution and things like that, like, you know, you felt like, thought I could jump that guy, but you feel like that it should have been able to play Super Mario Brothers or something very close, you know, and Great Giana Sisters, you know, is, I really thought I would drop out of that. You know, I felt like it was close. I mean, this is close, it's similar, but if you look at it, it's not as good as Super Mario Brothers on the NES, you know, and, that's not what I wanted to happen. Hold on. And then I was supposed to say, oh, flippin'. Then I go to that, it's Mario. He's flipping. Oh, man. So, you know, so that was the thing as a kid was that, I mean, all the stuff that the Commodore could do, and not only that, but he would have to spend his birthday, you know, gift or Christmas to get one game. Nintendo's games were like $50, like to get one game, you know? And then I would say for Christmas, like Santa, please bring me 100 floppies so that I can illegally download all this stuff, which Santa gladly did. Bring me 100 blank discs and I would crank them in, you know? And, hey, is that, I never know, is that Boat or Aaron coming in there? But you know, so the thing was, is like, everything about the Commodore was better to me than the Nintendo. You know, I could download games for free. I didn't have to spend $50 on one game. 100 discs, if you put 10 games on a disc, I mean, it was just this gigantic thing, you know? So you could do all these different things, but, you know, at the end of the day, then my friend would say, do you got Super Mario Brothers? And I didn't have Super Mario Brothers, you know? So it was just, I don't know. It was just kind of that, you know, that little insult, you know? It made me flippin' mad. I like my own dumb jokes. So, for those of you guys that are just coming into the channel now, and I was talking about Pinback earlier. Pinback, who's in the channel, has kind of been helping me with set up some of the things on Twitch that I don't know how to do. And so our whole idea was he was going to help me set all this up, and we were going to do a great big show tonight and try to get to 50 followers. But what happened was, and then when I got to 50 followers, I was going to open and drink this sweet peanut butter milk stout beer. But what happened was I got to 50 followers right before the show started. So the good news is I just opened the beer right away. And if you never had the peanut butter stout, you're missing out. But hey Mario, what do we think of peanut butter stout? Okay. That's right. So it's funny. I just mentioned them at the top of the show, Aaron. They had a peanut butter stout on their show. It wasn't this brand. This is from Left Hand Brewing, but that's where I got the idea. I was like, but I like beer and I like peanut butter. So, what does Mario think of peanut butter? It's okay. Okay, so okay. All right, we're going to try this one more time. Again, this is the classic hack of Great Giana Sisters for the Commodore 64 that was modified to look like Super Mario Brothers on the Commodore 64. And so we're going to try this one more time, and then we're going to go to the 2020 release of Super Mario Brothers, which will blow your mind when you see it. It is It's amazing to me, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm talking about a game that we haven't played yet. But when you see it, I mean, it literally looks like something that couldn't be possible on a Commodore 64. And I have a hard time wrapping myself around the fact that why are games in 2020 for the Commodore 64 better than they were in the 1980s, you know? And if you think about it, like, I mean, the logic part of my brain, here's an old trick. Oh no, get over there. You know what? There's a possibility tonight that I may be mixing, can you mix bourbon and beer? That's probably a bad idea. But it just seems odd to me that, that games would be better. I mean, because the hardware is not better. It has the same chips that it had, you know, when we were kids. It has, you know, the hardware hasn't changed, so why are the games better? But the answer to that I have found is because the development tools have changed. Like, for example, you could draw a picture now in Photoshop and import it into the Commodore 64. Whereas back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had to plot it out or, you know, draw it in Qualipad or something. All right, we got the pineapple now. Take that right through them bricks, buddies. All right, let's get up there. Good old hat guy. Now, I think, like, see how this that has that arrow up? I don't think that you could go up here or do anything, but sometimes I feel like there were hidden coins or something, like when those little arrows or something were pointing different places. But, all right. Here. Yeah, the pineapple is where it's at. I mean, once you get the pineapple, it's just like death. Death to all owls. We hate owls. I don't know why. The burrow owls. I already made that joke. I made that joke on Boat Stream the other night. I made a burrow owl joke and then literally revealed my age and discovered that nobody knew my Dead Milkman reference. Maybe that's not an old. Maybe it's not an old thing. It's just people don't know the Dead Milkman. Oh! Yeah, this is... I mean, the pineapple... Oh, no! The pineapple brings the pain, man. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of... there's technical reasons, but also, I guess, like anything... Golly, this joystick, man, just does not like this... diagonal. I mean, if you want to talk about a limitation, you know, for the Commodore 64, you know, again, and I made myself laugh. Yeah, you know, we are. Oh, God bless America. All right, I'm done with this version. Let me put my name in here. So, I will not lie to you that I am playing on an emulator, but this is the greatest joystick of all time. Don't, what do the kids say? It's not don't get it wrong. But it is the greatest joystick of all time, but on these particular games, the diagonal jumping is so hard. I'm going to tell you what, I beat Karateka last week with this joystick, so you know, it's not which stick, my friend. It's the stick. And I'm like Eazy-E. I've got like 4 of these brand new in the box, so if this one goes bad, I'll throw it in the gutter and go get another. So, all right, we're done with this one here. So let's go find the new... Super Mario Brothers for the Commodore 64, and I am telling you guys, this is really going to blow your mind. By the way, I love what the new groups. Look at this directory. Let me hold down Control so you can kind of see that scroll by. But this is the directory on the disk. Cracked by excess. So cracking is still a thing, even for free games. There are still cracking groups, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find their releases. I get a lot of them on BBSs. You have to literally get terminal programs and telnet, or telnet into BBSs, and that's sometimes the way that you have to get these new releases. So now this game was not a game that was sold, so it wasn't necessarily underground to go find it. But a lot of the new games that are being sold, groups are cracking them, and a lot of times cracking means just adding trainers. So really, I would call it a trained version. By the way, look at that scroll that just drops right. I mean, you've got the excess right there. You've got the scroll that just drops over the basic screen right there. I just think that's cool. Let's drop this in here. Unlimited lives. Of course, this is a train. So this is not the way that this release came. When it says Super Mario Brothers, you used to see this a lot back in the day. Super Mario Brothers +5. That means they have added 5 trainers to their release. You would also sometimes see 5D or something like that, which means they've added the docs. If you've seen those games that come up and they have the instructions, those are the docs. Or documentation that they've added. So I'm not going to use any cheats, I don't think. Let's see. Unlimited lives. Maybe I should. Let's do unlimited lives. Unlimited time. You know what? We're not really going for a record. We're looking to look at the game. No collision, I won't do. Skip world, I won't do. And power up, I won't do. But this will give us, because what happens is, it's not that I want to cheat, it's that I want to show you the game, and I get to talking and I just stand still and run out of time. Now, like a lot of later, I should go back and say when I was a kid, there were a lot of games that I would download and play, and they wouldn't necessarily play right, you know what I mean? And the reason is because I didn't realize this at the time. But part of the reason was because I was a US NTSC user, and a lot of the games that were coming out were PAL, and so they would find their way to the States, and you would download them, and then either the graphics would flicker or the screen would be shifted down, but it wouldn't look quite right, and there were groups that specialized in converting games from NTSC to PAL, because the PAL versions would be 50 frames and the NTSC ones would be 60, and it was just different. It didn't work. So a lot of new games that are coming out, including this one, and I think I said it was 2020. I think it says right there the original release was 2019, but you can see that it says recommended version European 50 frames per second. I haven't looked. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go look and see what mine C64 model. Yeah, mine is set for PAL, so we'll be all right. But a lot of games will now detect which version that you're playing on. I know what's her name, Sarah Page, is that right? Who's released Zeta Wing and some of those other shooters. Galencia is another one that those newer games, they will detect what kind of hardware they're on and they will switch accordingly. So that's super appreciated, because as a kid I really thought that this is naive, but I didn't know that there were different versions for US and PAL. And now when I look back, I realize that the Europe market for Commodore was much larger than the US. So they don't really have to do that, but I'm really glad that they do. So anyway, just looking at the screen real quick, you can see the artwork in the background. You can see down here We have some different options. We can play the original at 60 frames a second. We can play the European at 50 frames a second. We're just going to go for the recommended. We can set up different SIDs, and it will change the sound accordingly, and you can test your SIDs. You can see the background artwork here, and it will do that. It'll kind of clear everything off so you can see the picture. But again, I'm not downplaying this because that's obviously an awesome graphic, but to do that today, you literally could draw that in ink, scan it in on a scanner, convert it to Commodore 64 artwork. You still are going to have the limitations in resolution and stuff, but it's a lot easier to do than it would have been back in the day. So, all right, we've got all this stuff set up. So let's get started with the new version. Super Mario Brothers 64, as it is referred to. There's our little loading screen. And now, before I start anything, I just want you to look at this for a second. You've got your score up there at the top. You've got how many coins, the little coin animation. Look at that scrolling. It's literally, why it's so amazing to me is as a kid, I dreamed about this. I was dreaming about this in 1989, and it took until 2019, right? So 99, so 30 years later. But to see this, and there were rumors and there were screenshots and stuff like that, but to finally see it is just really amazing. So I got a feeling that it may be running a little bit fast. I think instead of PAL, I probably should have gone with NTSC, but let's take a look. We'll know when the music starts. Yeah, we're a little fast, but I'm okay with that. One bug. Now again, we're back to pressing up to jump. Yeah. And a lot of times you would see games like this that would scroll and the bottom would start jumping, or it would they'd be using those buffer spaces in the border area, and you would see things like that. And this just doesn't have any of that. Again, this is essentially a direct port, so the levels are identical, the sounds are identical. If you could hear that, but there is one issue with this version that I will say, and that is, as you can see right now as I start running, that it does suffer from a little bit of slowdown. Now, not always, and there are ways around it. I think if you use the RAM expander, I think I have to look it up, but there are some ways to speed it up a little bit. All right. Now, if you even remember the old trick as a kid, oh, well, I've got the timer frozen, but when you jump at 0 and you would land here at 6, oh, that was terrible. But even that works. And Aaron, I agree with you that I think this is just an amazing port, and I'm sure that that there's code and graphics and stuff that were taken from the original, and of course Zero Page was the first. He didn't try to take credit for anything he didn't do, but what happened was the minute this was released, Nintendo started going around on the web and filing DCMA complaints against everybody that was hosting it. Which is really unfortunate because DCMA and oh, you're out of here, Lord Soup. Hey, thank you, my friend. Thank you always for coming by. I always enjoy seeing you, and I always love hearing from you in the chat when you stop by. So thank you for coming by. And I know Lord Soup is already subscribed, so I can't tell him to. What do the kids say? Slap that follow button or whatever. But I'm trying to. Pinback has helped me set up alerts and stuff on the channel now, But unfortunately, there's no alerting going on. So let me see if I can do this. Oh boy, I could do it. I could do it on the NES, but I don't think I could do it here. Yeah. So the thing about Nintendo going after this guy is, and they didn't go after the guy. Oh, look at this. They went after the game, and so they tried to get this, shut down and stuff like this. They got it removed, all the downloads and stuff, which, if you knew where to look, you could still find it. But the thing about it is, well, first of all, and I don't want to talk bad about the guy at all. I mean, it's obviously a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant game. I mean, one of the best conversions ever for the Commodore 64, so you can't take anything away from that. That being said, if you put something out, I thought I was going to catch that. You put something out that says NES version, you put something out that says Super Mario Brother, anything like that, it's going to get taken down. I mean, you can't do that. Nintendo will come after you. That is something interesting just now that I just saw, and that's obviously a limitation of the Commodore 64 color palette, but that the coins were kind of blue and green instead of, traditional gold and orange or whatever. Let's go see if the warp stuff is in there. I'm assuming it is. Hey, Curtis. Yes. So this is the version that they went after. They didn't actually go after the developers. What they did is they just went after every site that was hosting the game. And, again, like I said, first of all, if you release something that says, like, now this is a level with all this stuff, those spike guys getting dropped and that cloud, you're going to see some slowdown on this level for sure. All right. Good job, Mario. Oh boy, didn't like that, did it? Does not like being on the background app, I'll tell you that. I don't think I could go down this kind of note. Alright, I want to get as many spiky guys right where I plan to land as possible. Yeah, now there's some slowdown. So you can, like I said, it's not, but I mean, all things given, and that is definitely just a small, there we go. This is, from what I understand, this is the Nintendo code rewritten. I could probably find out more about it. I think I did a version of this. I don't remember. Maybe I might have done an episode about this, but it is not an emulator. It's not an emulator. It's it is definitely a port, yeah. So you just can't in today's world, and especially I think part of the problem was when this came out. Was right around the time or right after the time, I suppose, when NES or Nintendo had released the mini, had just released the mini NES. Oh, there's no way I'm going to do it. Oh, look at that, I pulled it off. And so, I mean, if you say, I don't know, the thing about it is the reality, and of course the reality is not Nintendo's reality, right? The real reality is that nobody in the whole planet, nobody ever, anywhere, would be like, oh, well, I got this for free, and so I'm not going to buy Nintendo's product. which is, of course, I mean, that's their concern, right? The concern is, I'm scooting my screen over here. What do we think of that score? All right. I gotta quit moving that screen. It's jacking everything up. Oh. Well, that wasn't smart. Look at that. It was so funny. It was so funny for me to get my little high five, guys. It was really worth dying. Oh, I guess I can't make that jump. All right, hold on. I gotta move this screen thing over. I've messed everything up. There we go. All right, now. By the way, oh, you know what I like? I like that that I will do the same thing 900 times, and it's still not working. Let's take this a little slow. You know, on the oh, you know what? Guess I should do it. I forgot I could hold down the button. Good thing I turned on them unlimited lives. Can I do this? It's so hard. It's so hard to hit the diagonal thing twice in a row on the world's greatest joystick. Don't get it twisted. That's the word I was trying to put earlier. This is not Pinback. This is not getting me the bits. Nobody's giving me the bits. There's no new subscribers for this gameplay. There, that's what I'm talking about. Oh wait, isn't there a mushroom here? Oh! Z9K9 is now following, and I got a zombie. I don't even know how this works. It is magic. It is literally magic. And Z9K9 just got me killed, so give me back my zombie. You just made me small Mario because I got distracted. Yay, Z9K9. Everybody that makes something pop up on the screen gets a free song. Courtesy of the stream. And watch this. Oh. And courtesy of peanut butter milk stout. I know a guy's a friend of mine, and his name is Z9K9. He likes to watch me stream, and he likes Mr. Bean. I mean, that's all you get for... Oh, there's that dude. I forgot that dude. Man, this game is hard. This game sucks. Did I mention that? This game stinks. And they never should have made it. No, it's really, like I said, you know, I know this is a an old cliche, right? But standing, you know, on the shoulders of your forefathers, I mean, like, you know, a lot of different coding tricks, I'm sure, went into this to make this version happen. Oh well, this is terrible. Oh, no. There's a wall there. Yes, Pinback is helping me mod tonight, and I don't know really how to set up the bad word filter yet. But later I'm sure I will just go through and just see everything that Pinback said, and just add it to the filter. All right, let's go here. All right. All right, now we're gonna run. Oh, look at that. If you hold down the button, which somehow I forgot about. Oh, can I go down there? Oh, no. Oh, I'm warping straight to 8. Oh, no, 5. 5? Come on. So, yeah, I think, you know, like I said, there are things that we're doing now. So it's not, that was my, I don't know, my wrong, oh, whoa. Oh, why don't I just jump and stick my head right in a turtle. Was, you know, I mean, I was confused, like, was that I thought the games were getting better because the people were getting... Oh, did you see that go right through those? That's not right. I'm getting a refund. This game. You know, it's not that just the talent has gone up, or even, I mean, part of it is the information that has been shared throughout the years, but then also, you know, the tools, the development tools have got better as well. It's really kind of hard with this limited palette, I'm going to admit here, to see everything that's happening on the bottom of the screen. Oh, Bullet Bill. Oh, there's a hole there. So Nintendo is pretty I mean, Nintendo is like the one company that you don't want to... I'm going to have to change my high five thing. There's nothing to high five about. I mean, there's so many companies that, you know, will look the other way under certain circumstances and things like that, but Nintendo will not look the other way. They're going to go after you every time for everything, you know. You got to defend your copyright, I guess, as the... Remember the other day when I said I didn't throw joysticks? For some reason, I don't feel like the beer is helping. So, Nintendo goes after everybody for everything, and they started going after... You know, the thing is, I'm landing on those guys, like in the Nintendo version, when you land on those guys, you just bounce, and you get those guys, and it's not acting the same way. That actually is acting the same way when you fall through the gap there. That works exactly like Nintendo's version. So, anyway, you know, back to kind of what we were talking about. Is, like, literally, like, nobody, like, you know, think about, like, how does Nintendo make money off of Super Mario Brothers, you know, and of course you could say, like, you know, there's IP stuff, right? Like, you could say, oh, you like t-shirts and licensing and stuff. Well, this is obviously not taking away from that, you know? So if you rule that out, well, this joy, I swear to you that this is the joys. I'm glad nobody's here for the gameplay because everybody would have left and I would have to refund bits. Pinback, is there a thing where I can refund people's bits? I feel like I owe refunds tonight. So the, you know, so Nintendo is, I mean, they're not losing money from, you know, t-shirt. Oh, I'm literally about to go get a different joystick. They're not losing money, right? I mean, not off of marketing and t-shirts and things like that. So how do they sell this game? Well, they sell it on, you know, the virtual console, things like that, right? And they sell it on, you know, like if you were to buy the NES Mini, right? Then you would go, oh, well, I'm getting Super Mario Brothers. I would never buy that. Hey, Darren, how you doing, my friend? We just played the old Great Giana Sisters hack of Super Mario Brothers for the Commodore 64. Now, that was not my fault. That's not my fault. I'm holding the... I'm not doing well. I'm not doing good, Darren. I've been exposed as a fraud. You know, I advertised tonight's stream as a world champion Super Mario player, and it has just not gone well. Okay, there's that. There's not enough time to hit that guy and then jump over the ding-dong turtle. It's making me flipping mad. Get it? I was flipping mad. I gotta change that again. So, I know it's it's all goes back to man, I just had a. If I had had a Nintendo when I was a kid, then I would be better at this. But I unfortunately had a Commodore 64. So anyway, the point that I'm getting to is, like, nobody in their right mind, Nintendo is not. I just can't. I did get past that once. Nintendo's not losing a penny. There's no way they've lost a single penny. Like, nobody. I mean, you can see this version, and this version is good, and you know, it's a fun port. But who's playing this, right? I mean, not me. Obviously, I'm the answer right now. But in general, who's playing this, right? Like, nobody that's gonna go to the store and buy. I just can't make it off that. All right, that's funny. Yeah, Mario did die pretty badly on the big screen. It makes me want to when it goes slow, it makes me want to sing the Super Mario Brothers show theme. Do 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 the Mario. All right, if I don't get past this, then I'm refunding everybody's bits. Everybody will unsubscribe, and I will start the whole thing all over. Okay, there's those guys. Let's get over that guy. Let's get over those guys. So I keep trying to jump off this and land up on that deal because if I remember correctly, it's just not letting me do it. Oh, you were bad. Yeah, so you were bad at Karateka. But you know what's funny is I think I mentioned this on my Karateka stream, is that I could probably name on one hand the games that I've beaten in my life, you know? And Karateka is like one of 5 games. Okay, so we're going to try something different here, guys. I'm just tired of doing that. Isn't that what's the old saying? The definition of crazy is doing something over and over and expecting different results. All right. Pin back, get something ready. Get what do we got going? Yes, that's true. Yeah, I only know the beginning of games because I didn't play them very long. So it was funny that we talked about. I just talked about Karateka on. Whoa, that was a super duper jump. It's funny that I couldn't jump before, and then that time it was like a circus performer. It jumped so far. My whole life, I have said Broderbund, which is the company that made Choplifter and well, that didn't work. I guess we're going to learn how to do this. And so I've always said Broderbund. Now, the O in Broderbund has umlauts over it, and as I was joking, that really just means nothing to Americans. Okay, nope, that didn't do it. I guess I got to time that exactly. And this is so hard. I'm gonna, you know what? I should fire up the NES version just to show that I'm really not terrible at this game. All right, let's try this. Oh, that's gonna get me. There we go. Oh boy, Hammer Brothers. This will go well. Who didn't see that coming? You know what? At the end of this, I may play Karateka just to make myself feel better. Anyway, on the Sprite Castle episode, I was just mentioning that my whole life, nope, that didn't work, that I used to say Broderbund, B-R-O, just like Broder, you know. And then I listened to someone else's podcast, and they said Broderbund. And I was like, God, have I been saying it wrong this whole time? Like I've been saying Broderbund, you know, and it's Broderbund. All right, here we go. Nope. Oh, I'll take it. But anyway, I watched a video with one of the founders, and oh, that was closer. And he said, Broderbund, which I had bullet to the face. Yeah, so apparently they were both wrong. But I feel like as an American, and this is not like a, you know, a right. Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay. Now, what are the odds? Oh, that was close. So it was always Broderbund, yeah. But yeah, so Bruder. And it's not, like I was saying it like maybe how in Oklahoma would say it, like B-R-O-O, like Bruderbund, but it's not, it's like Bruderbund. Okay, let's get the button on that. Okay, well, I didn't make it up to that top one. What kid? He didn't touch. So anyway, so what was funny is, you know, so I kind of went down this rabbit hole and I was looking up, you know, how to say Broderbund, which again, you know, so I was saying Broderbund. Some people say Broderbund, and then we found, you know, that the official pronunciation was Bruderbund. But what was interesting is that I did find also an interview with Jordan Mechner, because I thought he might say Broderbund in his interview. And he did not. I'm just running. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, and now you have to hit up to swim instead of the button. Now that sounds terrible, by the way. So anyway, to get to the point of the story, he said, he did say Bruderbund. He said he had sold a copy of the game to Bruderbund, and he said, I was very excited to sell my first game, Karateka. I said, what? Karateka? It's Karateka. How do you not know how your own game is? Oh my. Oh boy. So, I almost got the star. I'm not getting a medal for this gameplay, I can tell you that. I was doing better in the other version. Maybe, you know what? Maybe in retrospect. Oh, there's a guy that comes out of that one. I like to learn each step of the way. Like one bad thing at a time happening. All right, let's get to the end of this stinking level. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I saw that hammer coming a mile away. Yeah. Well, the problem is with the to get the amulet of Yinder, I gotta go down 26 levels, and I'm only on World 5, so that doesn't seem likely with today's gameplay. Nope. Okay, and look at me. I'm juking and I'm jiving. And I'm dying. Yeah, that is. I do play like Dragon's Lair. It's just like left, died, right, died. What I need is those stupid Hammer Brothers to get up at the top. Yeah, I mean, there's hammers to the left of me, hammers to the right of me, hammers underneath me. Those hammers seem much more aggressive than I remember. Look at that slow down to my advantage. Oh, and then there's a stupid gap there. I wasn't even looking at that. Well, the good news is I got all your bits. I got all Pinback's bits before we started, so now there's no refunds on the bits. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm waiting for those guys to go up. Nope, let's go up, guys. Let's get up here. Get up on higher levels. I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know how the cheering sections are broken, but we will have new things added to the stream next week. And by next week, I mean tomorrow. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to the streaming. All right. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, well, there's a lot. I mean, here's the thing. Like, literally at 750, it set up the thing. Okay, so I'm just going to run and just assume... Oh, no. I mean, if that guy hadn't been there, I wouldn't have died. Which is sound logic, I do believe. Oh! Nobody's paying for this. Nobody's paying for this gameplay. So, well, let me think about what else I have to say about... I think I covered my point about... NES in there. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, no. Oh. Alright, I quit. Yes, I am using Vice for this. You know, I know that now that Ice Cream Jonesy donated a Commodore 64 keyboard to me, an actual keyboard. So that's the final piece of the puzzle I was missing for this. I don't know if you can see this behind me. This is the Ultimate 64 setup. It's in the clear case, and I have the clear monitor. I can actually turn it on here, but I mean, it's going to look like a Commodore 64 turned on. And so there's not a lot of big deal, but but you know, you could do your video streaming from this. So eventually, I will move that to the table over here next to me. Yeah, well, of course, then the monitor comes up to a white screen, but so I mean, that's the Ultimate 64 is good to go. So I can stream that, and yeah, I don't need your pity. I don't need your turn this off. All right. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reset. I'm going to reload. Again, for those that didn't see whenever I loaded it up, I love the work they did on the directory here. You can see this is the excess release. Actually, let me reload that and hold down the control here so it goes a little slower, but you can see they've added the Mario to the directory here. And we've got the excess logo. And I wonder what that looks like, a demo that they've stuck here on the end of the disc. Let's load this up and see what it does. Yeah, it is constructive criticism. It's not like I don't know what to do. I'm just bad at it, and I don't need my faults flaunted here in front of me as I'm trying to get Pinback's bits. All right, let's see what we got here. Well, that's not bad. Reflections, rapid fire. Oh, it's a little BBS ad. There's a BBS down there. I don't know how many of you guys are calling BBSs. I am calling a few right now, but they're it's just such a reminder of technology. Like every time I go, and I'm like, oh, I made a typo, and then as I'm typing, I look up and there's a typo, and then I'm on the next line and I can't use the arrow keys. You can't use the mouse to highlight something that you've typed and redo something. You can't do all those things that we're so used to. Obviously, you can't paste a picture. You can't cut and paste. There's just all these different things that we take just for second nature today. All right, we are going to do unlimited lives and unlimited time. We're going to turn everything else off, although we probably shouldn't. Hey, I should just turn off collisions and then no, and then just be like, oh, I suddenly got better at this game. I'm going to do, this is what I want to see here. So it says the original 60 frames per second, European 50 frames per second. So I guess that's slightly slower. I mean, I know 50 is less than 60. But let's see what that does to the gameplay here. Yeah, Curtis, I got my fill of 300 baud on the Apple II. My dad had an Apple II. It's a little slower. I feel like it's a little slower. I don't know, but the music sounds the same. Maybe it's just in my head. So I got 300 baud out, and then I got a 300 baud modem for my Commodore, but just very quickly I moved to 1200 baud. So I told this story. I've told this story a couple times. I think I've told it. I know I told it in Commodore, and I told it. Oh, you know what? Right here, isn't right there? Yeah. But is there enough room to still go down? Sure enough. Look at that. I'm amazed that all these tricks work, even on this version. So I even at 300 baud, man, I was a little where's kid. I was just downloading everything I could find, and I would set up downloads, to start like right before I went to bed. Oh, look at that, 5,000! If somebody else makes things go off, I don't know what else you could do. Is Pinback is yeah, you know what? I did mention that earlier, Darren, that I knew that the RU could speed it up, and I just didn't set it up. Let's see. Oh, so anyway, I told this story, and I kind of regret. I've mentioned this before. I mentioned this in Commodore Gear, which is the follow-up to Commodore. Is that there are a few things that I regret, and one of them is mentioning a couple of people's real names in Commodore. So I'll just mention this guy's. Well, his alias was the Boss, and so he was a sysop, and he knew I was just a kid, but I was getting all this software, and so he made me his co-sysop, and then I was just in charge of the upload download area, which is a big deal when you're 13, and so anyway, I started going over to his house, like my parents. Oh, ugh. Good job, Mario. So I started going over to the boss's house and just like trading games and hanging out. We would play games and stuff. And I mean, this guy was, if I remember right, he was, at this time, he was probably 30 and I was 13. So, I mean, it's a little weird, but it's not. Back then, you had to be there. It wasn't weird because, you would just find people on BBSs and go trade games and do stuff like that, And so, so anyway, we started doing all this. And then one day he was like, hey, man, I've got this thing. I could get some hardware. I could get some stuff cheap. And I think before maybe he had given me some floppy disks or something. He was like, oh, yeah, you you're getting me software, so I'm giving you these discs, which I didn't think anything about it, you know. And I'm sure 100% sure those discs were just, you know, extra discs he had bought or whatever. So anyway, then at one day he was like, "Hey man, I could get you a 1200 baud modem." And 1200 baud modems at the time were like almost $200. And I'm sure that the prices on all my stories change every time I tell my stories, but I think it was like $75. And if I remember right, a 1670 was 1200 baud modem for the Commodore 64 was like $179. So this was very cheap, and this is for a brand new modem. And I was like, okay. And I told my parents, you know, and so I think they loaned me the money or something. And let's see if I remember right. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to warp. Oh, and what I'm going to do is die. Anyway, this guy, long story short, this guy, he sells me the modem for $75, which, I mean, I justified it as I could now upload games 4 times faster to him, you know? So, I mean, I thought that's why he was giving me this good deal, right? So, time goes on a little bit, and then one day, I'm, you know, gonna go over to the boss's house or something like that. I'm trying to remember how this happened exactly, but, oh, you know how it happened was, I saw a newspaper, a news story on the news, and they said a local couple has been charged with hacking, and it was this guy and his wife. The boss and the boss's wife had been charged with hacking, and what they were doing was dialing AT&T Sprint, basically war dialing to get long distance codes. And I believe he was doing this like his plan was he would set it up Friday night at 5 o'clock, assuming everybody had gone home. And oh, was that 5,000 on the flagpole? Well, congratulations from Mario. And so he would just war dial Sprint all weekend and turn it off Monday morning, you know. But I'm sure whatever caught him was some sort of automated system. It wasn't, you know, a person being there or whatever. But so anyway, a day or two after that, there was a story in the local newspaper. And so I cut out that newspaper article, and there is a copy of it in Commodore that I included, which unfortunately has the boss's real name, which I kind of feel bad about. But it said that he had been charged with hacking, and he was facing a $100,000 fine and I believe 20-year jail sentence. And oops. Then I believe he served 7 years, and then he got some sort of a deal of his probation was that he would not use computers, and he which now seems like a BS thing. Like, how can you have a life without computers now today? You know what I mean? Oh, Tintin. One of these days I'll get the audiobook done. And Tintin, by the way, has been giving me technical advice and moral support and trying to get me to do this audiobook. And it seems like I've always got something else going on. But Tintin will get the very first copy of the audiobook, and he will get it for free. Anyway, he got out of jail or prison and went to a culinary school and became a baker. Anyway, he works at a local... Oh, you know, I did not see the fire on the other one, and for some reason I didn't see that one either. I mean, I felt it when it burned my Mario face off. See, there was no fire there. It was like when I just got close enough. And so anyway, I really have to watch the fire closer. Now we're at the point. We've got to a hard level. I'm showing my colors here. So I went to, I actually found the bakery that he worked at. I looked up his name and found what bakery he worked at. And I went there, and I did not introduce myself like a big chicken. I went in, and this is a bakery that sells mostly cakes, but also cookies and cupcakes and stuff. And I bought, I think, a dozen cookies or something. I was actually with some coworkers because it's not far from my work. And look at that. Everybody can kiss my Mario booty. Let's not celebrate just yet. The suspense is killing me. Mario, 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 Mario. Ah! Is it my princess in this castle? Oh, no, it's in another castle. I didn't see that coming. God, that would be funny if I ordered a cake and said like put Boss BBS on it or something. So anyway, this is the part of the story that makes me sound like a chicken turd. Is he actually contacted me one time. He sent me an email and said, "Hey, I'm out of the slammer or whatever, and I'm just wanting to reconnect. And do I still call BBSs?" And I thought I could stand there on that ledge. Do I still do anything like that? And I deleted the email, and I did not respond to him. And I was so scared because the way that he said it, and I don't believe this to this day, but I was young enough that when I saw it, it sounded almost like a setup. You know what I mean? It was like, "Hey, you still doing illegal stuff?" And I was like, nope. Straight and narrow, my friend. Which at the time I was not. And so, but I did not want to tell him that. So, yeah, I always did feel a little bit bad about that. Now, this is a true story. And the other night, those of you that were in the chat know that my buddy Jeff, that I always talk about, showed up for a stream. And it was so good to see him in here, just because, you know, so many of my gaming memories are of he and I playing games together. And see, things got complicated. There was multiple, all that stuff on there. But this is a true story, is that shortly after the boss, well, so I should finish the story. After the boss got busted, I saw the news article, and I was pretty naive. Like, I didn't know what happened when people got arrested. Like, I didn't know how, bail worked and things like that, right? And so I had my mom drive me over to his house, and I was going to talk to him and just see, like, see if everything was okay. And we went over to his house, and there was nothing inside. There was like a card table and some pieces of paper on the ground, and that was it. Like, it was just empty. The front room was empty. Golly, thought I got that. And so, anyway, I mean, like he was just gone, you know what I mean? So that was when I started to worry, right? So anyway, my user account on Boss's BBS was user ID number 2. So he was user ID number 1, I was number 2. And Jeff was number 3. So Jeff helped out doing kind of like you remember back in BBSs, they would have, sometimes they would have themed forums, and they had like a bar. The boss had a bar sub forum. That was stupid. And so he had, Jeff was like running this bar forum and stuff. I mean, it was just all this pretend fun stuff, right? So, basically, and I swear to you that this is true, Jeff's family, if I just yank the whole microphone, Jeff's family, Jeff's father, got a call from the FBI. Now, I don't know if it was the FBI or if it was the OSBI, but basically got a call and asked what the relationship was with the boss, and a few other questions and stuff. Now, the thing was that what was weird is that I never got a call from them, but Jeff did. But then I think, well, maybe, I mean, it's not, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I can tell you this, that I have talked to Jeff's dad, who is just about straight lace of a guy that you can imagine. And he's the one that took the call, and he tells us, I mean, flat out, he was like, nope, it happened, you know? So that was when, you know, there was a time on, like when I was running my Where's BBS on the PC, like there, you know, I had, like, what do you call it? Like dead man, like tripwires and stuff. Like, you know, if I don't do this, like it'll start formatting drives, and I had, you know, little macros and stuff and batch files that would start formatting stuff. Like, I mean, I wasn't doing bad stuff, but I thought I was doing bad stuff, which sometimes is worse, you know, when that brick's not doing anything. I don't know why I keep stomping on it. Isn't that the beanstalk thing? Oh no, it's the star. And then there's a guy in here, right? I'm losing my star. So, yeah, but that was the first time, like, that we started thinking, like, wow, like, people go to jail for this stuff? It didn't seem, and of course, that was like that moment where I learned, like, don't mess with credit cards. That was a big thing. Like, credit cards were money, and credit cards were important to adults, you know? So when you were downloading Dragon's Lair or, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, it wasn't, nobody cared. Nobody cared. We got into a big BBS fight with a guy one time, and I made a demo, and the demo, I mean, I didn't code anything. I used some prefab demo maker or something, you know, but the picture was pretty pornographic, and we'd put his name and stuff on it, you know, and according to him, mutual friends, he took it to the local police department, like a printout and stuff, and showed them, and they just thought it was hilarious, you know. Like, we were worried about, you know, I was worried, like, God, am I going to go to jail because this guy took this to the police? But they didn't, you know, they didn't care, and they just, you know, so dopey BBS stuff like that, I don't think made their radar. But, oh, look at that. Look at, oh! God, I'm switching up my Marios. Yeah, I definitely, you know, in the Commodore world, I mean, in BBSs, I don't think they knew, I don't think they cared, you know. Literally, I mean, I think it's hilarious that, you know, like, I would go to my bedroom and my parents, I mean, my dad was definitely not naive, you know. I mean, he'd been a sysop, and he'd called BBSs and stuff, so he knew what, you know, what I was probably up to, and they're calling BBSs. But it was just that thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to, you know, call BBSs, and then you'd get on there and it'd just be, you know, these giant fights and getting wares and all these plans and trading copies of the Anarchist Cookbook and just all these terrible things, you know. But we were kids. Of course, you know, nowadays, they're all doing it, you know, just on the internet. So it's a little bit scarier, you know, actually, to be honest. But, so the, you know, the BBS stuff, and plus we were all kids, like I said, so, you know, if you downloaded a million games, nobody cared, you know, it was just games, and you were kids, and they didn't know about it, they didn't understand it, you know. But, by the time I got to the PC, you know, we were all legal adult age, right? And we're all like getting jobs so we can afford CD-ROM burners and bigger hard drives and faster modems and, you know, these things, so we could do like, you know, like more efficient pirating. I'll tell you where, since we're just telling old stories that may or may not be true. I had a friend of mine, well, who went to a local college. And the local college was the first to offer dial-up BBS for all students. And so all you had to do was dial this number. And hey, good night, Darren. Yeah, I know. Darren, what time is it in your time zone? I've been meaning to ask you how far. It is 9:40 p.m. here Central Time, and I think you're probably 2 hours ahead of me. I know you're at least one. I was thinking you might be two. So anyway, oops. This local college offered accounts to students, so every student got an account whether or not they used one. And someone sent me this 10 for. Okay, so just 1 hour. That's not too bad. So yeah, man. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I always love talking to you. I've got to. Hey, Darren is one of the two hosts of Growing Up 80s, which is a awesome podcast if you like the 1980s, which if you don't like the 1980s, why are you watching a grown man play Super Mario Brothers? You know, as I mentioned, they have a Canadian twist on their stories, and their latest episode is about Mario falling into holes. No, the latest episode is about comic books. It's all about collecting comic books and from the 1980s and stuff. So you should definitely check out their show. Anyway, Darren, thanks for stopping by, man. Always appreciate you. So anyway, so this guy that we knew had an account at this local college and was letting us all use his account. So there were multiple people that were dialing up all on this one account. And so someone else told me, hey, there's this thing called password, like that password Etsy file, and it may be shadowed, it may be not the, may not be shadowed. And basically, long story short, there was no protection on their password file. I mean, there was protection. It was, you know, normal MD5 hashed. But basically what that meant was you could get a word list and you could run it through and try to crack passwords and stuff. And so that's what we all got into. And so I had my, I had a 386 that I ran the BBS off of, and I had a 486. I probably had my, either my 66 or a DX4 100, one or the other, by then. And listen to that slow down. That's not good. Oh, I was trying to squeeze through there. That would have been awesome. And so I had this giant password file for the entire college, and I felt like Matthew Broderick from War Games. You know, I would just like run these lists, you know, and then you'd be like, oh, Pencil, that's some kid's account, you know. And the thing about these accounts was they had limited capacity drive. They had drive space quotas. So even if you had an account, I think they were like a 10 meg quota. And so you could only store 10 megs at a time, but you could get it really fast, right? I need that guy to scoot back just a little bit, and I'm going to show you a trick. A trick from the Sprite Castle. And that's how you do it in the Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle. I am the best. I am the best. I'm the best. Oh, look at that. Animated GIFs. Me teaching Mario who's boss. I mean, this show could not get any better. As I walk into this thing and die here in a second. Watch this. Oh, I'm going under. He's going under. I am the thunder from down under. So yeah, so it was like we had this. I don't know. The thing was on the Commodore 64. It was all kid stuff and it was all innocent. We were all getting games and I did know people that were freaking and stuff, you know, calling long distance and stuff, but I never really got into that. Let's see if I can destroy every way to get up there. There we go. Oh. Well, that's the thing. I feel like we just needed a restart. Although now I've just ruined everything. All right. Hey, this is the Commodore 64 version of Sprite of Super Mario Brothers. We were playing the Abyss, the old 1980s Abyss hack of Great Giana Sisters earlier, and now we are playing the real, quote-unquote real deal. I guess as real as it gets for the C64. Oh, now I'm teaching the Hammer Brothers a lesson. I'm teaching everybody a lesson tonight. Oh! It is a really, really, really amazing port. It's so realistic that when I play the NES one, I always die there. And I've just died there too. All right. Oh, what a great... Oh! Hey, you have to tell me how to pronounce your name because everybody that follows is getting a free song tonight. Oh, and I have plenty of time to do it while I'm giving these brothers a lesson. Button, button, button. Oh, where am I? Oh, I'm dead. Oh, man. Get up there, turtle brother. All right, Hammer. Oh, there's a little surprise for you boys. Button. Oh, there we go. Now, why would you put a springboard that launches you into a stupid Koopa? Anyway, the point of my other story was, you know, we were on the Commodore. It was just all fun and kid games. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden with the PC, it was like serious business. You know, it was you know, like trafficking wares and burning the CDs. I never sold anything. I never sold software. I didn't believe in that. But you know, so now we're like, I mean, we've graduated from uploading games to Commodore BBSs at 1200 baud to, you know, hacking shell accounts at the local college so that we could store all this stuff and you know, run FTP servers. And I mean, just really, I'll tell you a terrible story. I probably shouldn't admit this on the stream, but here we are. So when I you know, everything I had was of course dial-up, right? So I had, I mean, you know, I was just, I was mostly 14.4. I remember I got 28.8. I think I mentioned this on Aaron's stream the other day. I had a, golly Jesus. Yeah, selling wares was a no-no for me. You know, anything that would get you on the radar like that, I just tried to avoid. But anyway, whoa. Try that again. Hey, I guess I could just let those guys pass and then run underneath them. We'll take it. And that guy will drop. Let's see if I could. Nope, not quite. Oh boy. Oh, nope. All right. Notice the talkie stop. There's no more talking on this stream. Everybody be quiet. No talkie. 2000. Close enough to awesome. So, yeah, I had a pretty good BBS going at the time. I had bought a SCSI external 6-disc CD-ROM changer. and I had access to a CD-ROM burner, and so I was, basically downloading stuff as fast as I could, burning it to CD, and then I could put these CDs on the BBS. And the CD-ROM changer had this very unique sound when it would change CDs. It would go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, like. And so I remember like sitting, at night in bed, and people would dial into the BBS, and then I could just hear it. I'd be sitting in bed, and then you'd just hear ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and you could hear people were just going through the CD-ROM drive. And this is a bad idea. So anyway, everything that I had was dial-up, right? I mean, that's all I had access to. And then I went to work. I got a job, and I'm just gonna die here doing stupid stuff. And I thought, well, now that I went to work, we had high-speed internet. We were connected to a WAN that was connected to the internet. It was the first time I'd had access like that. It was super fast. And I was hanging out in IRC, and I had IRC Wares bots, where I would, like a FTP serve that would sit in these Wares channels and offer software. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be really fast if I did that through my work connection, which is not a bad, it is bad. It was not a good idea is what I was going to say. And so anyway, my domain suffix when I would log on IRC from work was something dot mm dot faa, I shouldn't have said that, .gov. And so I set up this script, basically a little Wares offering script to serve up software and stuff. And I would log in from work. And so I would log into this Wares channel in IRC. And then when I would get on there, like, it would just go quiet, because it would say, like, the name of my bot. And then it would say, dot whatever, .gov. That was stupid. That was flippin' stupid. Never get tired of that one. And so I would log into these Wares channels from work with a fa.gov thing, and that was not smart. But in my defense, there is no defense. Let me just say that, like, there's no defending that. That was stupid. I could have lost a job that for me turned into 25 years and counting for a career. I'm still there, so it was just a dumb move. But at the time, man, I was so addicted to the software game. You know what I mean? Like, I was getting so much software, but I wasn't playing it. So it wasn't like, oh, I want to get the latest game so I can play them. I just wanted the latest game so I could trade them, And then so you could get newer games for those, and you could get newer games for that, and then just do it over and over and over, and then brag to people about, oh, I've got 50 bazillion games. And then they would go, well, how are they? I don't know. I don't play them. I don't even know if they work. The other night in Aaron's Amigos stream, he was playing Mortal Kombat, and I happened to mention that, and I've just got a weird memory that works like this, that Mortal Kombat 2 was... came on 8 floppies, and Mortal Kombat 1 came on 3 floppies for the PC. And the reason I remember that is because, I was moving these games from the internet to shell accounts to back and forth, and then ultimately the thing was to put them on your BBS, because then you would have incentive for people to call your BBS. So I could tell you where a lot of this I guess ended for me was, oh my gosh, that slowdown saved me. Where a lot of this ended for me was, if you've ever heard of the Wares group Razer, one of the sysops that ran one of their world headquarters, BBS, moved to my area code, and they started asking people to if they wanted to be couriers. And so I was like, you bet I would. And so basically I started tying up my machine and my internet stuff 24/7, just downloading Razor cracks, Razor 1911, I think. Yeah, I mean, they were huge. They were huge in the game. And would I say I was one of the largest wares guys at the time? I was one of the smallest wares guys at the time. I was a nobody. I was one of the bigger wares guys in my area code. I mean, and that's not even to say you're the biggest wares guy in a area code in Oklahoma, it's not a big claim to fame. I was literally nobody on any of these maps. I wasn't cracking stuff. I wasn't releasing stuff. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just moving files around, and so it made me feel like a big man, in my local area code, because I ran a BBS. And so by downloading all the stuff from the internet, I could, like I said, I could put it on my BBS, and I thought I could do that. Get people to call my BBS, because hey, I've got more software than this other guy or something. But so anyway, yeah. Long story short, I got involved with Razor, and but not officially. And they were like, well, we're putting everybody on this trial basis, and so you were supposed to call these, or go to these FTP sites once a day and get whatever was released, and get fire to the face. That was always good. That would always feel flipping good. And then send the stuff to this world headquarters BBS, and so, but what was funny is that I would also send it to my BBS. So I would be like, hey, I'm getting 0-day Razor releases. So, that was kind of why I did it. But I got to a point where it was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm tying up, my day 24/7, just, trying to do all this silly moving of software for no reason, and I just got burned out on it, which was better to get burned out than, arrested or something like that. Oh, that should have killed me. I just had fire go through my head. I'm going to take it. All right, let's drop down here. See what we got here, boys. I've been doing pretty good. I don't want to curse myself here. I've been doing pretty good on these end boss levels here. Oh, that's twice. I didn't turn on any kind of collision cheat. No, I've died plenty of times. Yep. And so anyway, I had these at one point in time in my house, I had 3 phone lines. We had our voice line, we had the BBS line, and then I had the line that I dialed out on. And then sometimes I would the second line was actually for the BBS, so I had 2. Oh, that was bad. So I had 2 incoming lines coming into the BBS, but I would dial out. So if nobody was on it, I would use it to dial out. It's not a downer, I don't think there. Can I hit that top one from here? Oh, golly gee willikers. Alright, let's try this. I gotta focus. Right now, I'm gonna need you to focus up. So, yeah, it was, I always enjoyed the If you've never read the book, and most people haven't because it's a difficult book to read, if you ever read the book, A Clockwork Orange, it's different than the movie. And the main reason is, the main difference is that there's a final chapter. And the final chapter, I believe, if I remember this right, is chapter 21. And it is significant because the point of the book, the whole point of the book gets lost in the movie because they left the last chapter out of the movie. But the whole point of the book was Alex, who was the, let's see if I can get that worked, who was the head droog, you know, they did everything they could to try to correct him, right? They gave him the treatment, they gave him the other stuff, you know, but all he wanted was a little bit of the ultra violence. But in the book, basically, oh, geez, almost fell off that, was that he grew out of it. And so the idea was that, you know, chapter 21 is really representative of adulthood. You know, oh, that was stupid. Oh, who's rocking now? So that was the point of A Clockwork Orange, is that, you know, they had done all these things to try to rehabilitate him. It didn't work. He backlashed. You know, nothing worked, right? But, all right, so let's see. We messed this up a lot of times earlier, but look at that. We've learned our lessons. There were lessons to be learned, and I learned them all. Oh! Yeah, and so that's exactly right. That's, you know, at the end of the book, he's like, you know, that's, he's going to leave all that stuff. And so the whole point of the book, which, like I said, gets lost in the movie, unfortunately, is that nobody could make Alex change. He just grew out of it, and he, you know, changed his ways. He decided to become an adult. And, you know, I feel like that's kind of what happened to me, was like, fortunately, I never got into any legal troubles, you know. But all those other things, I mean, any of that stuff, you know, could have gone bad for me. But there were close calls. There were, you know, things that just I should not have been doing. And all that stuff, it didn't really matter because it was just that thrill of, you know, getting software and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to dedicate my life. I don't want to come home from work and spend 8 hours in front of a computer watching things download, you know? I mean, it was just got old. And that's, there was no big bust. There was no scare. There was no anything. It just got old. You know, I would literally, like, on payday, you know, I would look at my paycheck and be like, hey, you know, can I afford another hard drive? Can I afford, you know, whatever. So what's the most valuable software I ever traded is a good question. And I mean, there's a couple of definitions. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I was trying to get over that guy. Because you could say value being money, you know, I mean, like, you know, there were software, like music software editing things and stuff that, or, you know, Photoshop and things like that cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars, that you could say, oh no. Can I get out of here? I can't get out of there. So you could say like financial, but what was more valuable wasn't the financial value. It was the release date. So how, you know, there were BBSs would say like their claim to fame, the faster you got software releases was the more valuable the software was. So people would set up in Oklahoma, I remember these guys, they would set up a BBS that would say like, we only want 0 to 90 day wears, which meant the game had to be released within the past 3 months. So someone had to release it, crack it, and there would be a date on the cracking screen, you know, when the screen came up and had to scroll and stuff. And so if it was older than 90 days, they didn't want it. So that was their badge of eliteness, if you will. Well, then most, I mean, 0 to 90 was pretty lax. Most BBSs would then say, okay, well, we only do 0 to 30 day wears. So if it was older than a month, they didn't want it. And then the next step was 0 to 7 day wears. So it had to be released within that week. So now this becomes a logistic problem. Like if you live where I live in Oklahoma, there were not people cracking software here. I mean, not major groups and stuff, you know, so God bless. High five, everybody. So, I mean, if you were getting 0 to 7 day wears, that meant, number one, you had a good connection somewhere. I mean, a software connection, and you were calling long distance, you know, you know, that 0 to 7 day was hard to do. And then, of course, you know, the ultimate is 0 day wears. Like, you know, it was released today. Now you're getting 0 day wears, which even on the internet, you know, is sometimes hard to do. I mean, now we talk about that with exploits, right? Security exploits, like there's a 0 day bug or a 0 day hack or something like that. But back then, you know, it was all about if you could get 0 day games. And so the one story that I remember very specifically was had to do with California games. Now, California games had been cracked. The version, I think the first person that cracked it, the first group that cracked it was EagleSoft. And so I had heard that there was a copy out there, but nobody in Oklahoma had it, right? And so the thing about these cracked copies was it had to be cracked not just to run on your computer, like the software protection, but you had to, I mean, it had to be cracked for you to be able to transfer it over the BBS, right? So like you couldn't upload or download an original because you couldn't see the files and stuff. But if it was cracked, you could. I just did the same thing again. So, so I called this BBS long distance. I believe it was called the Purple Dragon. They were in California, and I set up an account, and I called back. And the guy, you know, if you could prove, so you were, if you were a long distance caller, you were valuable, you know, so you always got treated. I'm going to cheat and go up here. So I, you know, the guy had called me back or whatever and said, okay, I'm in Oklahoma. There we go. Now let's try not to screw this up again. I don't want to slip off that tube. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Aaron, you watching this? Look at that. Skills. Skills. Flipping points like pancakes. I'm sure there are technical ways to do that. And instead, what I do is open up animated GIFs that I can flip back and forth through. Anyway, so I downloaded California games, long distance, 1200 baud. If I remember correctly, it took me about 4 hours. I don't know if that's exactly right, but I remember at one point thinking that the amount I was spending on the long distance phone bill was roughly the same as what I was going to spend if I had just bought the game. So I could have just bought it for the same amount of money, but it wouldn't have been cracked. I wouldn't have been able to trade it. It wouldn't have been worth anything on BBSs. So I spent all this money, and of course I told my parents, like, I'll pay it back. Like, I had no income at this age. So really most of my income was like all figured in, you know, like now we figured out like how much money do you make per hour or whatever. Like that's a going rate, right? But a going rate for me was I just tried the same thing. Why did I do the same thing again? It didn't work last time. It did work this time. Basically after I got this, then I could go around. And so what I did was, and this is a crappy thing that a kid would do, right? Is I started calling BBSs, and Now, California Games is only, and it's funny the way my memory works, man. Like, I literally said this earlier, like, I'll forget what I had for a meal the day before, but somehow I remember details about California Games. But California Games, the original, was on 2 sides of a disc, but the cracked version was 3 sides of a disc, and I don't know why. I guess their intro and their other stuff, the bootloader and all that, took up, it flowed over onto the 3rd disc. So, hold on, no talkie. So, I started calling local BBSs that had software that I wanted, and I would only upload the first disc. So these sysops would unzip it and it would say Eaglesoft presents California Games and all this, but I didn't see the rest of the game. And then I was like, hey, I have this. Now let's talk. And so I actually wrangled some deals out of that. So, I mean, that was probably the newest and biggest game that I ever had. Definitely on the PC there was other stuff, but that's just one I super remember. So I never did drop a big phone bill on my parents for a couple of reasons. And one reason was, so my dad had this thing at his work called a Watts extender, which was basically you could dial this 1-800 number and then you would wait. Actually, it wasn't 1-800. It was a number at his work. And then you would wait and then punch in a code and then it would give you a dial tone. And then basically what you were doing is, charging the long distance call to his work. And so he had that written down at home in his desk. So this is exactly like the scene from War Games when David Lightman goes and he gets the password from the principal. Is that I went and got that number out of it. I'd seen him use it, and I got that number and that PIN number from his desk, and I used that occasionally, but not too much. I mean, mostly, I got most of what I needed locally. Now, there was a story in Commodore. Again, if you called long distance, you were seen like you were treated elite. You were treated with respect. Even if you were a dope from Oklahoma like me, people were thrilled to have long distance callers because it was a badge of honor to them, to be able to say that they had long distance callers. And so in the summer of, I should have waited. In the summer of, I think 86, 87, something like, and I was, big, into Commodore, getting all my games and doing whatnot. I had family. My grandma and my dad's side of the family lived in Chicago. And so what I came up with this plan, and it worked beautifully, was I started getting BBS numbers that were in Chicago, and I started calling long distance. So I got them to verify that I was calling long distance from Oklahoma, right? And so they were like, oh yeah, you can download whatever you want. You're elite, you're long distance, And then one summer, my family went on vacation to Chicago. So I had basically set up this entire plan. On our vacation, I took my Commodore 64, and so they, knew me as a long distance user, but when I got to Chicago, I called all these BBSs locally. So it was a local phone call for me. So I spent a big chunk of that week's vacation calling BBSs and downloading all this stuff. And I got 3 or 4 discs of software that I had put on the label, like Chicago Wares or whatever. And what was cool is they all seemed, I don't know, just like more special because they had 312 area code on them instead of 405. Like they just seemed like they were from another land or something. And so that was a really... Am I just going through the same maze over and over? Am I supposed to do something different here? What am I doing wrong here? Yeah, so I would come up with little schemes. You know what? I think I've got to go through a different level. Oh. I think I got to get to the bottom. Now, this seems familiar. If this doesn't do it, I mean, it just keeps wrapping around over and over. How do you keep Mario entertained for hours? Can't go backwards. Okay. Oh. What am I missing here, fellas? Oh, wait a minute. I got it. I got it. This is like some Pitfall 2 level stuff here. Watch out for scorpions. That. That's what I'm talking about. I wish you'd have told me 19 times ago. I would have done that. Stupid Mario. Alright, so now we got a fireball going up and down. We got that thing spinning around, and we got fireballs coming at us. But you know what? None of that's a problem for Jack Flack. Jack Flack always escapes. That's how Jack Flack does it. Yeah, I did learn that lesson that there were long distance inside in the same area code in Chicago. I did learn that there was a little bit of a phone bill, and I think I just, whatever we did, I reimbursed my grandma or something. And now we're back to 5-1, which is, I think, where I was dying before, so I'm probably going to be wrapping this up before too long here. But, man, those were the good old days. You know, calling BBSs and calling... you know, just every day, like call every day, like, and I'll tell you what, you know, Aaron did a podcast, and his brother is, I don't know how much younger your brother is, Aaron, but, it's funny that however the distance that you guys have in age is almost like a generation, you know what I mean? Like Aaron is the same age as me. He has the same memories as me, calling BBSs and stuff like that. Like, you know, I think we're 8-bit, we're 16-bit, and then it seems like your brother is like that next, just slightly older, you know, or I mean slightly younger, where he's more PlayStation, you know, to our Commodore and Amiga stuff. But what was funny was, okay, so they're 7 or 8 years younger than us, or close to. But what was funny is they were talking on one of their podcasts, and he was like, oh, there was never a time, you know, like BBSs were such a, you know, a rarity, or, you know, basically was the point of what he was saying, was that they weren't plentiful, I guess, would be the way to say it. And I got to tell you, I mean, I have spiral notebooks that are full. Like, I would have an entire page of BBS numbers and passwords, and you know, and then there'd be more on the next page. Look at that. Do I got a good memory or what? And then if I remember right, $300 bill. Curtis, she had a $300 bill one time. I had a part-time job then, so you're able to pay for it without being on my parents. I do remember, like, I got a job when I was 14, and I remember, like, definitely buying floppy disks with that money. Like, oh, yeah, save it up, you know, for something important. And I got to the point, you know, a lot of my stuff, arcade games and wares and all those kind of crazy stuff, you know, I was always quantity over quality, which is not a great way to be, you know what I mean? I was that way with arcade games. Like, I would buy, if I could buy 2 arcade games I didn't like over one that I did like more, I would buy the 2, you know, which is dumb. Oh, yeah, now we're back to this. But I remember, and this was even earlier. I mean, so this is on the Commodore. So, you know, I mean, we're talking 86, 87, you know, that era for me. I would have a touch term. I think I used touch term a lot. And I don't remember how many numbers it would hold in its little phone book, but it would be full, like 40 or 50 BBSs. And then I would sit there and just auto dial because they would be busy. And so you just work your way through the list and just keep dialing. And, you know, you're on all of them. And then I actually had multiple copies of Touch Term because the phone book was so full that I would just load, you know, the copy on the front side versus the back. I mean, I was probably on 100 BBSs. And this is in the middle of Oklahoma. I mean, we're not talking about, you know, California or New York or any place like that. I mean, you know, and like Curtis was saying, you know, he's 50 BBSs in, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. So, and Oklahoma City, I give you as I mean, it's, I followed the star. Yeah. So, you know what? I am going to wrap up. I'm about Mario'd out here. But before I go, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Aaron knows what time it is of the night. Show and tell time. Our home digital 2. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. BBS notes. All right. Okay, yeah, I think I should be able to get this. All right, let's send this over to the left monitor here real quick. So let's kill old Super Mario. And I'm going to go to left monitor, and I think I do have audio. Let's see. Yeah, I do have audio. This is... yeah, so thanks, Aaron. You know, I'm terrible about plugging my own stuff, but I do have on my website Commodore, which is the book that I wrote about all this stuff. It basically starts whenever we got our first computer as a TRS-80 Model 3 when I was a little kid. I was 6 or 7 years old. And it goes basically through all of my Commodore stories, all my PC-ware stories, and then kind of ends, you know, kind of like... you know, the end of Clockwork Orange, where I just kind of grew out of it. And I do have a sequel to that that's out called Commodore Gear, which is, you know, Commodore came out in 2000. I wrote it in 2005. It came out in 2006. So Commodore Gear came out earlier this year. And actually, they're both on Story Bundle right now, which... if you want a whole bunch of computer and video game and retro gaming ebooks, there's a story bundle right now. It's at storybundle.com, and I think it's /games, and you could get 95 different DRM free ebooks for $30. And both of my books are in there. So I get a very, very, very small slice of whatever that total is going to end up being. So it's not about the money for me, but if you want a bunch of different ebooks, that's a good way to get a bunch. Or on my website, if you just want my books, I've got them in, you get it in PDF and EPUB and Mobi. So you get whatever format that you want. Anyway, some of these are hard to read. Like this one's a little hard to read because I wrote on the back side of the page too. Excuse me, but if that's pretty good. Pretty good peanut butter milk stout. I just finished it off. But these are scans that I made of my old BBS notebooks. And these are from the Commodore 64 era. And I've looked through these. And by the way, I was not good at passwords. I have some pretty bad generic passwords. Like this says Kids BBS. DP11 was my ID and my password was future. That's not a good password. That's not going to hold up to a word list. I'm looking here. These are just random phone numbers. It's funny because this is a Yukon number where I live. All Yukon numbers are 354 and 350. You remember a lot of BBSs weren't 24 hours. If a kid could talk his parents into using their main phone line, he would run it after hours. And typing. Shouldn't be typing. And so that's what this is here, where you can see where this is 10 to 7. You know what? I think I've turned off my, you can't see my pointer over there anymore. But I think there's one or two. That's the back of that page. You could see more BBSs. This is, so I did formed my quote unquote cracking group called the OK Crackers, which we did actually. When I say we, I mean we recruited a couple of guys that actually could crack games, that knew how to go into assembler and go look through the code and remove copy protection. So I like to say that in that group, I was the Flavor Flav of that group. Like, these guys did the work, and I would go out and drum it up, and I would come up with these crazy intro ideas and take other people's artwork. And there is an old podcast. I forgot I did an episode of You Don't Know Flack, which is podcast.robohara.com. You can find the old episodes, and you can find the episode on the OK Crackers. So in the OK Crackers, we didn't want to get arrested, which we thought we might be stepping over the line by making a cracking group. That was different than just uploading and downloading games. And so it was me and another guy named Klaatu, whose name was Bill. And we got a guest coming on the show. What do we got here?
I have brought you a lemonade.
Oh, a lemonade.
And a burrito.
And a burrito. Thanks. Well, I'll pass on the burrito for right now.
I'm just going to sit down and run it.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Happy Christmas.
And so, look, the lemonade came with a straw. This better be a spiked lemonade, or this show's going downhill. It was going great. Now it's going downhill after this. Anyway, my partner in crime was a guy named Klaatu, who went by Klaatu. His name was Bill, who was at least 30 years older than me. And he was actually a post office mail delivery man. And so we picked alternate aliases. So he became Paladin, and I became the original Metallica, which later on I found out there's at least 10 kids in every area code that went by Metallica. But so we had made these alternate names for the OK Crackers because we didn't want it traced back to us. But that was, can't use my mouse because now there's a burrito laying on the cord. That was the, I must have just got Bill's phone number right there. Bill does not live there anymore, so don't call Bill. But it says Bill Klaatu. These are, looks like the name of BBS files. So when you went to different things on the BBS, it would load these little text files or sequential files, and that's probably the names of those, probably ones I was making. Now, I talked in the book, I talked in Commodore, and I also did a podcast episode of about copy fests, which was where I would organize. We didn't have a name for them. I mean, I just call them copy fests. I think people call them copy swap parties and things like that. Like, we just came up with this name, Copy Fest. And I set one up. And so I actually became friends with another guy who was older. I mean, when I say older, he was in his 30s. And we said, hey, if you'll rent this hotel room, like like a general, like a party room kind of thing, then you could come and then we'll all pay you back and I'll charge admission. So I set up this whole Copy Fest thing. Well, this is the piece of paper that I planned the very first original Copy Fest on. So it was at the Grand Continental Hotel, Grand and I-35, which is literally, when you go there, I mean, you will be greeted by drug dealers and prostitutes. It is a terrible motel. This is all the people that I invited. So there's This is my friend Justin, who I talk to all the time. This is his friend Mark. This is somebody whose name I probably thought their real name was Les Paul. I probably didn't know that was an alias. There's Frankenstein. Here's Vlad, the Phantom, the Shadow Chaser. And of course, and then again, here's every single one of their phone. Oh yeah, my mouse pointer is on there. This is the one that had chocolate covered gummy rats in the snack machine that we went and got. So, but this is the very first Copy Fest. This is everyone's phone numbers. And this was who came to it. So this is a piece of Flack history right here. Let's see if there's anything else good in here. Here's a BBS, and my password was drug. I don't know. I don't know why. This looks like this is organizing a party. A roleplay RPG party for Fantasy 2. Here's some character names that I would have made. One funny thing at the time was I wasn't exposed to a lot of different things. So one of Justin's best friends, his alias was Umbra Sprite, which I just thought he had made up. I didn't know things had come from comics or whatever. Justin's BBS was called Ball of Confusion. There were people, like I remember there was Bran McMorn was a guy that we knew. I didn't understand his alias. And then, later when you get older and you start reading and things, I'm trying to see if there's anything else here interesting that are in these scans. Cause I have these scans, kind of okay. So this is what I was looking for. This is a typical sheet from one of my BBS notebooks. This is BBSs that I was on at the time. And so you can see the BBS name, the number, my login ID, my password. Oh, look, Flaxty. That's a great password. My password here was CAT, K-A-T. Well, that sounds great. But and then here's the hours. Like these are all 25 hours, but not all of them. Like Mount Olympus here was 10 to 10, and Thingfish's Lab. Here's Megamania. There was a Megamania 1, 2, and 3, and here's Worldwide BBS. Worldwide BBS was the brother of the Boss BBS. They were actual brothers. This was Land of the Rising Sun. This was HOO was House of Odin. See, it's those things like that I remember. LITF, which I think was Look Into the Future. The Boardwalk, Mount Olympus. Some I remember, some I don't. Like this, Disc City BBS. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a legitimate Realm of Magic, Shadow Caverns, The Pawn. Daytona Beach. I got a lot of stories about that guy. Wizard Scroll, the Bastille. Yeah. So Aaron, when you talk to your brother and he says, "Oh, there weren't any BBSs around or whatever." So anyway, to finish that thought, tell him that that's not true, and then punch him in the head. Us old guys got to keep those young guys in check. 1010, you mentioned running all, keeping different passwords. So here's the thing. I had my friends who were sysops. Like my friend Justin ran his BBS Ball of Confusion, and then I was a co-sysop on his BBS. So I could log on and look at the user file. And when you looked at the user file, you could see everyone else's passwords. And so then you could, this is not a nice thing to do, but then you could call someone else's BBS and use someone else's thing. So if they had download credits and you were out of credits, you could use their account and get download things. Now, I did get busted a couple times because then you would forget you're logged into somebody else, and then you would go post something and sign it as yourself, and then you were like, whoops. And then you'd say, I don't know how that happened. It wasn't me. So I did, Curtis is asking about FidoNet echoes and things like that. And I didn't run FidoNet, but there were a lot of kind of like underground kind of nets that I ran on my BBS. There was one called SneakerNet. There was a few different ones. But my dad ran a BBS. He ran the first PC BBS in Oklahoma City. There was a BBS before his, but it was on a TRS-80. It was run by Radio Shack. But my dad and his coworker set up a BBS called PCX, which was the first Oklahoma City IBM BBS. And, through his board, I got to see Fido and learn how to, toss packets and do all that kind of stuff. So, hey, this guy, here's a trivia thing. This guy right here that says down here, it says Wizard, and this is Villa Creek Apartments, and then it says Kurt and 10th and Midwest Boulevard. This was the guy that paid for the hotel. So the thing was, I think the hotel room for the night, for the whole evening was $40. And so he paid that, and then we invited like 15 people and told everybody you had to pay $5 to come show up and copy games. So, we made enough to pay him back the money. It says drop carrier. I don't know what this is. These are just random notes. These look like file names for some reason. Here you go. Aaron, here's more BBSs. This entire notebook just had pages and pages of, you know what? I might be lying though, because these look like some of these are people's phone numbers. Caron, which you may know as the I don't know what he is, the spirit that rode the boat back and forth that accepted coins and took people back and forth across the river Styx. But Caron, that was my buddy Jeff. So this was his original old alias. And why on earth would I have his name and phone number written down? I knew that phone number. But there are, so there's BBS's numbers and passwords just written down all over the place, just constant anywhere. And this is not my only notebook like this. I had lots of notebooks, Yep. And so Caron would, what was funny is Jeff started off, I think, as Kamikaze, and I think we misspelled it. And we would always set up these fake BBSs. Looks like some CNET code that I was working on to get something. So I would go to school and I would sit in class and I would write code, and then I would come home and type it in, and because I figured it would work. I could do it, sit there and write it at school when I was supposed to be doing other stuff. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what this is some sort of CNET mod, something to do with the chat program. But I would sit there, and when I was supposed to be taking notes in class, that's what I was doing, was writing down pseudocode. Now this is a funny page. This is like brainstorming names for something. I don't know what it was for. I've got Metallica. Maybe this is when I was trying to come up with a name for the OK Crackers. We got Metallica, Evil Dead, Wrathchild, Tattoo, War Pigs. They're all like song names, or Eternal Chaos, Poison. Yeah. Talk dirty to me, Slayer, Devil Luck. Yeah, these are all basically they're Motley Crue songs, Black Sabbath songs and Slayer songs and Metallica songs. So I didn't have and Misfits songs. So I'm not Devil's Whorehouse. That would be a good BBS name. Brain Eaters. This is a the thing is that your parents would eventually see this. Like you'd have this thing, and my mom would be like, Devil's Whorehouse. That's nice. So Curtis is asking about the big pay services like CompuServe, Genie, and Delphi. For the most part, I didn't use those. However, I did eventually get a little program called AOL, which you may remember, may have heard of. AOL was basically a program that would generate AOL accounts, and it generated fake credit card numbers. So these credit card numbers didn't work. They weren't real, but they matched the algorithm that real credit cards had. So AOL would accept it as a credit card and then set up your account, and those accounts would work for 30 days until they tried to bill them, and then the accounts would die. So you would basically get AOL for 30 days, which was not good if you wanted an email address or a long-standing account, but it worked for if you wanted to subscribe to like Ware's mailing lists and things like that, or just get on and chat with people, stuff like that. And then they worked for that. So this is a good one. So this is a BBS. So I was just telling the story about how before I went to Chicago and I started calling long distance BBSs. So these are area code 312 BBSs. System name, Bloody Booger. I mean, that's a good one. If you're looking for quality wares, you've picked a winner by calling the Bloody Booger. The jokes write themselves, but this is a 312. And then I've got 300 BOD circled here, which probably did not make me happy. Here's one that doesn't have a system name. Yeah, but I'm guessing that's probably what this was starting to get information on Chicago BBSs. Now this is funny because this is in the same notebook, and man, I wish I may have to adjust the contrast later on this scan or something, but this is like files, file names and stuff, but you can see like there's 386 to 4. What else is on here? .arg files. Now, if you're looking for a great generic Arkanoid game, there was a game called Bananoid, which I have written right here. I almost threw this out at Aaron's stream the other day. Bananoid. It is a VGA Arkanoid type clone, but the twist is that the screen is twice as wide as the monitor, so it scrolls left and right. I see Mario, Ninja. There's always a Ninja game somewhere. Back something.exe, Tapper. So I don't know what I was doing. I don't know. I'd probably stumbled on somebody's little trove of files and had written stuff down. That's, a lot of what I did. Here's more files. I see some .arc, archer.arc. Yeah, I don't know where all these files. I don't know what this was about, but I saved it. I say, this is good. A random character generator. What is this? So I was infatuated with an idea. Let's see, spell listing, armor, weapons listing. I was always, I played D&D with my friends, and we always needed NPCs for different things and adventures. So I was always writing little basic programs that would churn out NPCs, and they would. There was no error checking or anything at all. I mean, it really could have generated a guy with all threes for all of all his abilities and classes and alignments that didn't go together or make sense. Like there was no logic to any of my character things, but I would write these little programs to do that. So that's probably what I was working on, and that seems to be the last page in this notebook, and so that's probably a good place to go, so I can go finish drinking my lemonade here and eat my burrito before bed. So, guys, thank you. First of all, thank you. Thanks to Pinback for helping me get all this stuff set up. I'm probably going to be migrating to OBS Streamlabs so that I can incorporate some of the other things. I know there's some different rewards and things like that that I can put in here. All the guys that I see, everybody that's in here, Aaron, you know that I love you. I love all your streams and stuff, and I'm always thrilled to see you come by. A 10, I know that you've been on a bunch of the streams. I appreciate you coming back in. Commander Root, we got extra more in the house tonight. I think that's is that Il Delara? So the problem is that not only is it names I'm not familiar with, but also the text is really small, so I'm really leaning forward and peeking here. Of course, Curtis, Miss Linity? I know I'm getting all these wrong. Raw HM1. No, is it Ron? Oh, Ron HM1. That makes more sense. The saddest kitty. Oh, that makes me sad right there just to read that. 1010, who has been a cheerleader of mine for a long time. I get emails. I get messages. He supports me on Patreon. He has been behind me all the way. And one of these days, I swear to you, I will finish the audiobook and I will be sending you a copy. And then we got Thakura and, of course, Z9K9, who I saw subscribe during the podcast. And the thing that I set up, the alert thing went off and I got a zombie, and it was very exciting. I wasn't for sure what would happen. And so that worked out, and that was really awesome. So, hey, thank all you guys for stopping by the Sprite Castle. This has been an epic long stream. Now, Aaron, I got to go talk to Boat and find out when I can squeeze this in on the YouTube schedule. But thank all you guys for showing up and just listening to me blabber for a little while about old games and old memories. I appreciate it. So thank you guys for stopping in. I do sometimes stream at random times throughout the week or on the weekends, but this is a set time, 8 p.m. Central on Wednesdays. I will always be doing a show in this slot. So thank all you guys, and I will see you all soon.